Hey, what's up, friends? We're Stage Dive KC, and we're back stage right now in the green room with Ventana from Ohio. Stitch, they're about to take the stage. Man, tell me what we're going to expect tonight, Fran.
Anarchy, full anarchy. No, it's toward the end of the tour, so we're feeling a little tired, but the crowds have been really good, so we bring the show no matter what. This has been the first time we've done a headlining tour well over a decade, getting back out there and playing in front of fans that have been supportive of us for a long time and demanding that we come to their town and play. And it's been awesome to see every night, these fans are coming out and still remember what's going on with the band. There's a very extensive plan in motion for what this band hopes to accomplish in the next 2 years. So this start of this has been very eye-opening.
I'm personally excited about it. I know you guys have been to Kansas City at least a handful of times. I've seen you two times in person myself. Now, from what I understand, you guys have been pretty vocal about kind of stepping away from the whole thing and saying fuck it altogether. Like, what was the light bulb that made you decide, I'm going to do this again, I'm going to get back out there?
So Dan, my drummer, he plays bass in Dope. He was in Marilyn Manson for the longest time. He's one of the main techs for Static X. He does all these other things. I was in Mushroomhead for a long period of time. I also develop and help flip haunted houses and implement making haunted houses awesome, basically, trying to put it in the short term. But I also do that as my main gig. And our guitar player at the time was like working for this bar that he was opening, and everyone was doing all these other things. So I was getting frustrated with every time Ventana would seem to make some progress, it would get knocked back down because someone's got to do something else, whether me or another member. So I just got fed up, and it's like, you know what, everyone go do your shit, and apparently this ain't gonna work. So we kind of pulled the plug on it with the farewell show, and then a year had passed, and me and Dan are like, yeah, let's book a show. And then we started, getting back at it from then. And then when I linked back up with Waylon recently and did some AKC stuff, it inspired me to go, I have my own brand and my own band that deserves, it's time to see what it's worth, see who's out there, who cares about it, and see what'll happen if I actually push it nonstop, because I never was able to do that because something else would always come up. So that's the plan right now.
I love it, man. I think when my listen through on checking you guys out, you remind me of like Ministry, Skinny Puppy, early 9 Inch Nails. I want to know, like, where it's being from, like Cleveland and that like middle of the map type of situation. How's that baked into the cake and the music you have now?
Right. So I'm 46. So when I was 13, 9 Inch Nails was, getting popular. Marilyn Manson started breaking out. Mushroomhead, before I was even in the band, I was a fan of Mushroomhead. So those things were breaking out in Cleveland, and all those Manson's from Cleveland, Trent Reznor's from Cleveland. So I grew up being inspired by these bands that were fucking awesome and industrial, and they were from my own backyard. So that kind of laid the blocks of what I wanted to do at a teenage age, of like, that's what I want to do. I want to be that person and find my own way to do it. So that, the Cleveland music scene in general was so fucking awesome. It inspired so many bands, Mushroomhead, Chimera, all kinds of bands, Ringworm, freaking Integrity. There's all kinds of awesome bands that have come out of Cleveland. Fucking Devo's from Cleveland. It just didn't, the list goes on and on with that. But yeah, lots of influence growing up, mostly with the 9 Inch Nails. You nailed it with that. Marilyn Manson, but also Faith No More with Mike Patton, with like his goofy weirdness, and like not just trying to be dark, evil, scary, just that. We try to be also campy and break that fourth wall to not just act like, oh, we're, spooky, scary band, and try to be, actually have fun with it as well, like Faith No More would do with it.
So you guys are calling this the Rust and Revelations tour. Ohio's part of the Rust Belt a little bit. Are those like, those have to do with each other, or is that a whole separate idea?
So it was honestly just, I was trying to come up with a tour name and it just sounded cool. But the Rust was because of the Rust Belt, and Revelations just because you can take that however you could take it, as a biblical thing or whatever, or having a revelation of also realizing I need to put this band out there and start touring and see what'll happen. So it was kind of like, there is a little bit of play on words there, but also mostly it just sounded like a cool name.
So I know you guys are a bit of a super group right now. I know you guys are from Mushroom Head. You guys have Dope and Crossbreed. Like, how have those different types of influences like affected the music that you guys have right now?
Not necessarily anything. Ventana's always been its own thing. So even though we're doing those other bands and doing those other projects, Ventana's always had its own sound. I still very much work close with the original writer of Ventana, who is John Sustar. So the sound and the integrity of the band is always, very grounded and rooted, so it doesn't really sway from the other projects, because you don't want it to just sound like your other project. You want to have some kind of difference or a different kind of bite or a different kind of approach. Obviously, I'm always wanting to be theatrical from the background that I have and with the haunted houses and shit. I just never could see myself as being someone to go on stage wearing jeans and a t-shirt. So I like the theatrics of it. I don't want to always be wearing a mask, but finding different ways to be a theatrical band.
Yeah. One thing that I definitely know that you guys are doing right now, speaking of being like going in different directions, you guys are doing a kind of a DIY, putting the album together, putting the tour together, doing it all yourself. Like, what's been like the biggest headache and what's been the benefit of doing it all yourself these days?
So, like I said, I'm lucky that there is a solid fan base. So even when it's not a good show, there's still a handful of people that really wanted to be there and really cared. But not everybody gets the memo, and that comes with we don't have the funding to put out ads and make sure that like everybody's getting the memo. And unfortunately, sometimes these clubs don't really promote that much. Sometimes they just like, oh, the show will sell itself and we'll throw some bands on and it'll be fine. And then the show doesn't do that good. And then it'll be 2 weeks later and I'll see comments online that, oh, when are you coming to fucking Dallas, Texas? We were just there last week. Not everybody gets the memo. But having funding or a label or something like that would help deter those costs. So when you're DIY, that is the only downside, is that you have to invest all of your money into marketing, advertisement, because just going on tour isn't enough,
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to do these days, that's for sure. It's starting to get kind of loud in here, so I got one more. I know you guys are throwing pizza parties for the VIPs, right?
We've done that in the past.
Yeah, so I want to know, if you put together a pizza yourself, Stitch, what would you have on it?
Pizza? With me, it's always barbecue. I always default to barbecue chicken, deep dish, mostly those 8-corner ones that does the caramelized edges. But barbecue chicken's always a go-to, but no red onion, because onions fucking suck.
I would agree with that, man. So we're backstage right now. This is Stitch from Mushroom Head, Ventana, all kinds of cool stuff, man. We're at the Westport Bowery here in Kansas City. We're getting ready for them to take the stage. It's an incredible Saturday night. It's warm outside. We want to give a big thank you to you guys for taking your time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Once again, we're Stage Dive KC, and we're ready to rock out. Take care.